Here's the Chinese poster for The Little Mermaid.
Oh, we've been John Boyega again. This time we went with the blue.
John Boyega and Black Panther all over again.
Oh, I got to have her can't show her face.
That is the China poster?
That's the China poster, dude.
That's unbelievable.
The first thing,
now, let me tell you, somebody hang on real quick. As somebody who's done photography now and video work commercially for a long time, many, many years, on the side of my regular day job in the finance world, because I love doing this. I spend a lot of time over the years in Adobe Lightroom, Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Premiere Pro. Let me tell you all about what color grading is and adding things like LUTs, which are lookup tables, LUTS. This is it's a beautiful image. I love it. I really do. It's very pretty. It's artistically, it's very well done. There's a reason that this is what they made for China, and this doesn't look like anything in the U.S. posters.
Let's see the domestic poster, if that's okay. Can you pull that up?
I can hunt it real quick.
That'll be fun to compare. Let's all see what might be going on here.
Yeah. So if there's a very, very deep blue tone on there. Melanie, would you care to speculate at all on what may be going on?
It looks like they're trying to cover something there.
I wonder why she's so far away. I just, you don't get a good look at her.
Melanie, what might they be trying to conceal in that Chinese poster?
This kind of stuff just really shows just how performative their Disney's virtue is and all this, and they want to pretend like it's all about representation and all for good reasons and stuff. But then, we're doing this for them. We're doing this for our audience. But exactly.
Here's let's just
they're trying to catfish Little Mermaid. They're trying to catfish the
you mean
Chinese
Flounder
viewership. Yeah,
that's right.
Flounder, the Little Mermaid.
Fish Flounder, man.
Literally catfishing the Chinese audience with that poster.
There's something apparent in this domestic poster that oh wait, not that one.
wait, no, not those.
It could be worse.
I'm on the wrong Twitter tab.
They have belugas in this movie?
Yeah. So I must have closed it by accident. I'm sorry. So here we go with this one, and here it is. Versus that.
Yeah.
Now, again, two very different images, but it's also, I should call to people's attention, two strikingly different color grades on this imagery.
This is just, I can't believe they John Boyega again.
I can't put my finger on what it is.
Maybe they really like blue raspberry.
Gosh, Valiant, I feel like you're trying to say that the Disney company is not truly committed to diversity representation on a global basis. God, what kind of channel is this? I thought you were supposed to put Hollywood through some financial lens around here.
I'm not sure, but something about this and something about like the Black Panther posters in the past where Chadwick Boseman's face on the U.S. poster, very visible front and center, as it should be, versus the Chinese poster where he had the mask on. And then, of course, we had, as you said, John Boyega. I'm starting to think that Disney's DEI and ESG mantra seems to end at the water's edge. And by the water's edge, I mean Eastern Pacific in that vicinity. That water's edge is about where that ends. That and certain labor camps.
Valiant, I've actually been doing some research since you pulled this up. I have found a word that seems to describe the situation. I'm just learning about it. I believe it's pronounced hypocritical. I'm trying to get the pronunciation right.
We can go with Family Guy and just go, black. She's black.
Yeah, this is something. So this is Disney's next biggest film coming out. I mean, and apart from all the problems we're having at Lucasfilm, since I brought this up, let's just kind of dance around this for a minute. Melanie, were you a big old fan of The Little Mermaid like most little girls, in our generation? I mean, I know you're not quite Gen X, but
right.
You're not far beyond that. You came up in that era. I mean, big Little Mermaid fan?
I liked it. I was more into Aladdin. I loved Jasmine. She was my favorite Disney princess, but I still did like Little Mermaid and watched it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Any interest in watching this one?
No, I'm over it. I mean, and that's the thing is as bad as it is to constantly see the race swaps going on and making characters like unrecognizable. That I feel like is the least egregious thing that they've even done with this movie. It just looks terrible. I feel, and a part of me, when I criticize what I'm seeing on the screen, I almost feel like I'm making fun of the handicapped kid at the school ground because it's like it feels wrong for just how bad it is.
No, we're not going to go down the road of calling this like the short bus version of classic Disney, but I mean, look, and all joking aside, folks, I'm going to say this to be very clear. This is not a knock against Miss Halle Bailey, who's in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She seems
this is in support of her.
No,
honestly, yeah, because people didn't. I know when Brandy played Cinderella back in the day, nobody rose a fuss over that. I think right now, just given the political climate and stuff, and to where this does seem to be more of a virtue signaling move than anything versus what we've seen in the past, it makes things a lot different.
So I've zoomed in on this image quite a bit so I can get an idea of what it looks like when you're standing there in the theater next to it. And I got to say, I think that they are purposefully, I mean, this is really bad. They're purposefully hiding her race. If you blow this thing way up, they have the light shining on her in such a way that you cannot tell what her skin color is. Mm-hmm. They are shining the light on her face to make her face seem brighter. But that's not the only thing they're doing. Everybody knows that one of the trademark things about The Little Mermaid, about Ariel, is her hair.
Yes.
Her hair is hidden in this poster.
Exactly.
So, I mean, Disney, man, they're awful. They're just awful.
You got to remember, it's the thing with this is, China can grift off this box office because they take home roughly 75% of whatever Disney is going to do on the gross retail side in that country. Same thing with Fast X and everybody else. It's not a Disney thing. It's just a China thing. So if you want to get people in the box office just to go watch it, just to see it, well, they don't care what you think about it after you've already bought your ticket. Right? Mm-hmm. There's other people that give me this stuff online. Well, go watch the movie first. Go see it in the theater. I'm like, no, you don't understand, because that's the point. I don't want to go watch it. If a studio has constantly kicked me in the mouth time and time again, I'm not stupid enough to just, let me just pay another $20 to go see what next turd they're going to drop on my face. No, I don't care. Prove to me it's actually a good movie before I actually take the time and the money to go see it. This is what they're counting on here with every market, not just China. They want them to go see it, and then, maybe after they buy the ticket, it doesn't matter. So this is why they do what these do with these movie posters. They obscure it. Plus, the CCP basically makes them do this. Disney is all happy to do it for them. They are happy to bend over and do whatever the Chinese communists tell them to do.
Yeah, I just wonder when they get in the theater, does it change her color inside the Chinese theaters alone? Do they go that far, perhaps?
Could they have regraded the whole film?
They use like AR technology.
Yeah, they could have theoretically regraded the whole film to look like this, to obscure.
She's Chinese, of course.
Yeah. I'm not the greatest graphic designer in the world, but when you do a poster like this, it relies so much on contrast. And there's some compositional things they've done here. Like if this were, it's an IMAX poster, and they tend to get a little more artistic with those, and you have the beam of light in here and whatever. But if you go to the other poster, it's much more clear what's going on. You have your star right in the middle. She's the only one that's fully colored. Yep. She's surrounded by all these grayed out people. Your eye is. I can't even remember how I said it.
Don't worry about it. You're fine. You're fine.
People, please.
They're blue.
Welcome to Shitty Walk and take your order. Okay.
Goddamn Mongolian, keep changing my skin brew.
but your eye is automatically drawn to the contrast in the frame. There is no contrast in the other frame.
No.
Right. You're right.
I mean, this is the thing, and from a standpoint, Melanie, let me ask you this. I mean, even though if you weren't a big fan of the original film, I didn't tell you what this was, or you know, whatever. From a commercial perspective, if I am going to remake, or if I'm going to bring to life for the first time a major piece of IP, if I'm going to take something that has maybe never been on the screen either at all before or anywhere near this level, most people, I think, would tend to agree that probably the best course of action is to give my target audience something that is instantly recognizable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Brothers was a good example of that. Everybody saw the trailer for that and was like, oh, you knew what that was. That's Mario, that's Luigi, that's Peach, that's freaking Rainbow Road. They're putting everything in there. Everybody's like, yes! $1.3 billion later at this point, we see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Disney did not really go after the let's give audiences something that's immediately, unquestionably recognizable. The first thing people saw, at least from my mind, was, wait, Ariel's black now. And she doesn't have red hair now. And is that Flounder? I don't know. What was when you saw this for the first time, kind of like, what was your instant reaction?
We didn't need this. I mean, that's with every Disney live action thing that they've released. I haven't seen a single one in recent years. I mean, I watched like the older like Hook movie, but other than that, I just never really had any interest for Disney live action stuff because for the most part, I feel like we already have great films with the animated versions of them. So it's not really that needed. And there is some sort of super fan base who would be all about it. And clearly some of the adaptations have done really well. So there is a market for it. But like you said, they need to really be making the fans happy if they want it to work, because most people who aren't necessarily super fans are not going to have that same level of interest as someone who's like a huge Disney fan and a huge fan of whatever the movie is that they're adapting. So I think it's pivotal with any sort of movie, video game, anything like that, is if you are making something that already exists, you really need to make the fans happy if you want to see it succeed.
I fixed it if you want to blow me up. There you go.
Good job.
Oh, God.
The red hair. Love to see it.
But, you know, let me
black,
ask you a follow-up. Here's the thing. If they had just let this alone, right? Okay, we're going to cast Halle Bailey. She's very pretty. She has a great voice. She's got a very good Broadway voice. I'll give her credit. When I told folks, you can go back, find either the live show, whatever video it was we did this on. When that first teaser trailer came out of her singing Part of Your World, that little 30-second clip, the first thing Disney put out, I was like, dude, this thing is going to do $1 billion. I mean, because the thing that made Little Mermaid was that Howard Ashman score, that Alan Menken score, that Broadway score. They brought that back, at least, or so we thought, 6-7 months ago.
And then they added Scuttlebutt.
Then they started. Then everything else started coming out, right? Then it was like, okay, it's not just that you race swap this character. Oh, well, she's a mermaid. She's in the Caribbean. I'm like, it's written by a guy named Hans Christian Andersen. He's one of the whitest guys on planet Earth. It doesn't matter. It's like, well, it's a mermaid. No, it shouldn't. But I mean, here's the thing. Why change something that is so recognizable, one of Disney's biggest IPs of all time, if you're trying to sell it to audiences? But then we're going to change the music. We're going to add new music. Oh, here's Flounder. Oh, my God. What is that? Here's Scuttle, which is now played by Awkwafina, and it's swimming in the ocean. What?
Wait,
I mean,
you forgot.
The more came out, and wait, here's real quick. Here's the last part, Melanie, and I want to get your thoughts on this. The first thing, and now the only thing they have been seemingly doing to this point has been diving into this. And let me pull it up real quick. Diving into this notion of everything about this movie is based around race. Everything about it. I mean, to the point now where we have yet another, call to arms this week, it seems like, with, oh, well, if I'd had a black Little Mermaid when I was a kid, this is from Halle Bailey.
Yeah.
I'm like,
she said it would have changed her life. I'm just like,
what
dude,
exactly?
It's going to change your whole life, really?
If it changed your life, you wouldn't be starring in a movie that could make $1 billion. I just still can't get over the fact that
playing Cinderella. If
they replaced Buddy Hackett with Awkwafina.
You guys,
Jonas, have you heard the song that we're talking about when we say Scuttlebutt? Have you heard it?
I've heard.
This is not legitimate music.
We can't play it here, but I've heard a couple of tracks or clips of tracks, and it's just, what in the world is that? It's Lin-Manuel Miranda on a bad day.
You guys are forgetting the best song from this whole movie. Do you consent to the girl? That's the best thing
exactly.
we have to do. Yeah, sign this form.
Yeah, you see her. Get your documents ready.
Get your quill out for the girl. Sorry.
You know, when I worked at Morgue, I sang that song.
A Black Mermaid would have changed Halle Bailey's life. Now, this is what drives me nuts. And I'll probably get on YouTube or get in trouble for saying this on YouTube. But you know what? At this point, I don't care. Let me use Disney's own logic, and I want to get all of y'all's very honest opinions on this. Tell me if I'm crazy.
You're crazy.
If I will, of course. But if I'm going to root my entire marketing campaign based around the fact that we are now giving fill in the blank X, Y, Z, representation, you have to ask yourself, this is a very expensive budget. This is a very expensive film. Okay, you want to give little girls of color, however you want to call it these days. I don't see people through lenses of skin color, so it's awkward for me to talk about like this, to break people down into color groups from a marketing perspective.
Right.
Here's what I don't get. If that is true in Disney's mind, then by their own logic, are they not eliminating the representation of 70% of their domestic audience with little white girls?
Yeah.
I mean, does the door swing both ways, Disney? I don't get it. Now, I don't believe that. I think that's stupid. But this is what Disney is saying when they put out articles like this, that everything's broken down into skin color. I want y'all's thoughts on this. Does the door swing both ways? Should Disney be looking at this from both sides? Because I don't get it. This makes no sense to me.
Right.
You're not allowed to ask that question.
And then not only that, but it also reduces people too much to just like the color of their skin. And that's it, to where it's like, people are way more nuanced than that. And not everybody is going to relate to a character just solely based on, this character has the same color of skin as I do, so therefore I feel represented. Some people may identify more with a character who's completely different than them. So it's just kind of ridiculous to think, okay, you're represented now because this character has your skin color. I just think it's absurd. I
can't identify with people with blue eyes. I just don't know what to make of them. I can't even imagine.
People look, and even if you have, a bunch of people with the same skin color, we're still all going to look vastly different. You can't truly represent everybody. You can't truly represent even a demographic of people, because there's only a small finite amount of people who look like Halle Bailey in this case. It's just like, just because other people have her same skin tone doesn't mean that that's necessarily even representing them.
I'm part of the 15 freckle tribe. If it's not a person with 15 freckles, I don't know what to do anymore.
Well, then I tell you what, you're really going to love Erin Kellyman.
And this is an alternative poster I know you sent, but again, it's still
makes it so dark. So what they did here is they made her back is all you can see, and it's in the shadow, and then they brightened her face so that she looks like she could be any race. Again, it's the same trick. Not blue this time, just using clever lighting and shadow to obscure who she is and what her race is.
And I think had
that face, this right here, this would never be on a Chinese poster.
Right.
What you've seen in this, never.
Renegade.